Hi everyone, I'm Courtney and this is our beautiful model Laura. And today we are doing a short little tutorial on adho mukha svanasana, or downward facing dog. So for today you're going to need a strap and 2 blocks and your mat with the short edge pushed up against a wall. It doesn't have to be like actually touching, but right there at the wall. Okay? So we'll start on our back, feet at the wall, just in shavasana, but feet touching the wall. Okay. Nice. So go ahead and let yourself relax and just drop for a moment. Super nice. And then go ahead, we'll bring right knee towards the chest. And then take your strap, place the strap around the ball of the right foot. Okay, so lengthen that foot up towards the sky. Nice. And as you do that, you can either pause here just like this. You can bend and re-lengthen the right leg a few times. It's really fine, whatever you decide to do. You're just opening up the backs of the legs. Nice. So as Laura's leg is going straight this last time, she's going to leave it there. She'll reach up through the heel. And then really strongly, I want you to pay attention to this bottom leg. So really strongly press your left hamstring, the back of your left thigh, into the ground. Press your left foot into that wall. Nice. And then soften your shoulders, soften your face, soften your eyes. Let yourself just be here for another couple of breaths. So not only opening the back of the right leg, but really working on firming that left thigh down. Nice. Take one last in-breath here. Nice. And then as you exhale, we'll bend the right knee. I'd release the strap. Lengthen your right leg, sole of the right foot at the wall. Bend your left knee, hug left knee towards the chest, and then place that strap around the ball of the left foot. We'll lengthen the foot up towards the sky. And then again, a few times, if you want to, you can bend and re-lengthen that left leg. You can bend it a lot like Laura is. You can bend it just a little bit. You can leave it totally straight, whatever feels best for you. So she's just kind of feeling out the state of her hamstrings today and sort of feeling what sort of level she needs, right, in order to open the back of that leg. And then once she's here, she's going to pause and stay here with that left leg straight. Then focus her attention on the right leg, so firming that right thigh, the right hamstring down to the ground, as though she's trying to actually touch right hamstring to the ground. Press the right foot into the wall. And then remember to breathe. Nice. Remember to let go of the face and the eyes and the jaw. Nice. And from here, we'll bend the left knee and release the strap. Place the strap off to the side just for a moment. Good. And then we'll hug both knees towards the chest. Awesome. I'm going to have Laura roll to the right side and then come up to a seat. So Laura's going to sit in virasana with a block between her inner ankles. Very nice. So I usually like the block on the medium setting. If that's too low for you, you can always take both blocks and place them underneath. No, you can't. You can't take both blocks and place them underneath. I'm not sure what to do. We'll just cut that out. Anyway, come back into virasana. Okay.
Why can't I place 2 underneath?
Because we're going to use it for the hands.
Oh, we forgot.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay.
Just leave a little.
All right. With this second block, we're going to take that into the hands. Laura's going to put her hands on the short sides of the block. Okay, and then pretty strongly press the hands into that block. So really feel the stuff on the inner border of the chest starting to work, feeling the stuff along the sides of the ribs starting to work as she presses in. All right, so those are really good stabilizer muscles when we come into downward facing dog. Okay, so now Laura's going to really pretty intently firm her front ribs in. Lengthen the tail down towards the ground, and on her in-breath, reach the arms up. Nice. And then exhale, bring the arms back. Just forward. So reach those fingertips forward. Try to draw the shoulder blades around the sides of the back. Hug front ribs in, tail down, and then inhale, reach the arms up again. Nice. Exhale as you release down. Good. And then last time, hug the block, reach the fingertips forward. On your in-breath, reach the arms up. Nice. So she'll notice it's harder to keep pressing her hands into the block as she reaches the arms up. So she's really focusing on super long, straight elbows. She's focusing on trying to extend the fingers all the way from the low back while still keeping front ribs hugged in. Nice. It's a little hard, so take another breath. Nice, and then on your exhalation, release the hands. Good, blocks to the side. Make your way onto hands and knees facing this top edge of your mat. So feet facing the wall again. Okay, we'll take a big step forward with the hands. Good. And then root down through the palms. So take a look at the hands. See that index fingers are pointed to the top edge of the mat. And then hands are shoulder distance, if not like a touch wider. So if you have a little restriction in your shoulders, it can feel really nice to just have the hands a little bit wider. Okay? And by having index fingers pointed to the top edge of the mat, if you look at your wrist creases, you'll see that they're parallel to the top edge of the mat, which is really nice for supporting those little bones of the wrist. Okay? Laura's really strongly pressing her palms. She's going to keep her arms straight and then reach the hips back. Nice. This is anahatasana, heart melting pose, sometimes also called puppy dog pose. Okay. So with the hands rooting down, reaching the hips back, she's letting those arms extend all the way from the low back. And you might find that you need to back your feet up a little bit. You might find that you need to give yourself a little more space if that's the case for you. Otherwise, if you're happy to hover here, hover here. We'll find another version of this in just a moment. So she's just focusing on bringing her breath into the sides of the waist. And at the same time that she's pressing down through the hands, she's letting forearms lift up. She's letting biceps lift up and away from the ground. And then trying to melt that heart, right? It's anahatasana. I'm trying to melt that heart, melt the upper back towards the ground. Nice. Good. On your next inhalation, press into your hands, come all the way back up to hands and knees. And then we'll do that same pose, but this time we're just adding a little bit of height with the blocks. So place your blocks so that they're about shoulder distance apart, a little in front. And then again, pressing down through the palms, reach the hips back. Nice. And this is just going to give you a little bit of lift and a little different angle to get into the shoulder. Nice. So you'll notice that as Laura's pulling her hips back, you might be able to see this little bit of lift of the front edge of the block. You'll certainly feel it. So as the hips pull back, press down through the fingertips. Yeah. And as fingertips press down, as the palms and the root knuckles of those fingers press down, feel the center of the wrist lighten, forearms lighten, good. Upper arms starting to lighten and lift. Good. Take one last breath just like this. Nice. And then on your in-breath, you'll come all the way back to hands and knees. Nice. However you want to get there, make your way up to stand. And we'll flip around. So Laura's going to turn around. Nice. And she's just going to bring her hands to the wall with her hands at about the level of her hips, about the height of her hips. Your palms will not touch the wall to start, so just starting with fingertips. Yep. Yep. Okay. So then as she backs up, she's going to allow the palms to come to the wall. Okay. Start to reach the hips back and make her way into this kind of wall dog pose. Nice. Can I have you actually lift your hands up or walk your hands up just a little bit? Yep. Nice. Walk your feet forward just a little bit. So we want to have just about a right angle, and that proportion is going to be different for everybody. Right? So Laura's going to take a look up at her hands, and she's going to adjust them so the index fingers are pointed to the ceiling. Nice. Palms are rooted into that wall. And then really trying to hug those hips back. Nice. So the challenge here is to not let the front ribs totally drop down. Yeah? It's going to be the tendency for especially her body, because she has quite a bit of mobility, to do that. So she's actively trying to draw the front ribs up and in. And then in addition to that, she's sending the thighs back. So just like we did in Supta Padangusthasana, she's firming thighs back. And it's even trying to scrape the feet back on that mat. And then although this feels super nice on the neck, for the last breath, I'm going to have her bring her ears just in between the biceps. Nice. And as she does that, now, just like we did with hands on the block in Virasana, roll those biceps up towards the ceiling. So you're getting this kind of external rotation through the upper back. Nice. Good. And then go ahead, walk your feet in towards the wall. Make your way all the way up. Awesome. Okay, so turn around, butt at the wall. You're doing great. Butt at the wall. Go ahead and roll down just into a forward fold, and your knees can be bent. Yep. Good. Okay, so however much you need to have your knees bent is great with me to start. Yep. Just let this be a nice little forward fold. Let the head dangle. And see that the feet are hip distance and parallel. Yep, she naturally does that. So with feet hip distance and parallel, Laura's going to start to root her thighs back towards the wall. Okay? So we're just changing the orientation of gravity. We're just changing the orientation of the mat. So as the thighs root back against that wall or towards that direction, she's going to start to walk her hands forward. Nice. Walking them forward, keeping the thighs, trying to pull back towards that wall. Keep walking hands forward, walking hands forward. Nice. And then pausing here. Good. And let's just check the distance. So here's a really easy way to check the distance of your downward facing dog. Laura, rock forward to a plank pose. So bring shoulders over wrists. Nice. And then if she needed to adjust, either wiggling feet forward or back to allow the shoulders to be right above the wrists, that's where you need to be. So wrists right under shoulders, see your legs are pulling up, the heels are reaching back. Make your way up and back, downward facing dog. Nice. So go ahead and lift up all 10 of your toes. Nice. That's, again, going to pull the thighs back. Go ahead and release the 10 toes down. All 10 of the fingers are spread. Nice. And then from here, just like we did at the wall, try to spin biceps, eyes of the elbows just a little forward. Nice. Overdo it just a little bit because you can. Drop your chest towards the ground. Nice. So this is really common, right? So instead of just sagging into it, making a saggy dog, we want to hug front ribs up and in and give those shoulders some support from the bottom. Nice. Let's take one more deep breath here. Really beautiful downward facing dog. Nice, and we'll exhale, bring the knees down, settle the hips back, come to child's pose for a moment. All right, so you can repeat downward facing dog several times. Of course, if you're in a vinyasa practice, you would move through it several times. But it's a pose worth paying attention to. It really sets up a lot of the inversions, a lot of arm balances. And since it's a pose that we revisit so often, it's really good to understand the mechanics of the body within it. All right, so go ahead, come all the way up, sit on your heels just for a moment, the grand finale. Awesome. Join palms to heart, bow the chin. Nice. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you. Thank you.